Coming up on Chicago Bears Now, Caleb Williams attended Ben Johnson's press conference, spoke to the media afterwards, and sounded off on his thoughts on the hire. There are some new coaching staff rumors that I want to dive into. Plus, Ben Johnson sending a strong message to the players on this team. We're going to dive into all of it here on the channel. Let's go ahead and start with Caleb Williams' quotes on Ben Johnson. He said, quote, "He's a no-nonsense guy. He'll always have my back and always give me support. The structure, the no-nonsense, holding me accountable, and us two being on the same wavelength. Him being at the helm of it as the head coach and me being the quarterback, me being on the right time and on the right page, on the field, doing everything right. And from there, being able to hold everyone accountable. He's going to hold me accountable." And he said, "I want you to hold me accountable." I like that two-way street from coach to player, because that's how it should be, especially with the quarterback and the play caller. Stacey Dale's putting this out there as well, that Caleb said that he let out a loud yell and scream when he got the call that Ben Johnson would be his next head coach. Said the move immediately brings clarity to the off season, which I agree. Get the guy in here, know what direction you're going in, know what the vision's going to be, get to work. Like Ben Johnson said earlier today, we're going to be spending a lot of time in the spring together, him and Caleb Williams, so and building that offense from the ground up around his talents. So very, very exciting times, and that's what Caleb said as well. Quote, "I'm super excited for this organization." And it just kind of feels like, and look, all the memes on Twitter are valid. The Bears win the offseason again. Yeah, like it's getting a little tired when we're most excited in the offseason, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be excited and optimistic right now. It feels like it could be different now. They got to prove it to us. They got to get results on the field. Not saying they got to go win 13 games in year one of Ben Johnson or anything, but like this needs to be something that turns into more wins than losses. But doesn't it feel like there's a weight lifted off? Like it just felt so tense last year. Like it just, ever since that Hail Mary, just the lack of trust between coach and player just felt obvious. Players were begging for leadership, no accountability, and those are all things that Johnson talked a lot about, setting a standard and all those type of things. So obviously you got to go out there and do it. Words are just words, but I do get the sense that you've got a pretty strong and organized person in charge. And it just felt like the longer it went on with Matt Eberflus, like he was letting things slip. Things weren't organized. The discipline wasn't there. And hopefully this time it'll be different. Show Caleb Williams some love. Get the 1-8s in the comments. Deep rumor on Twitter that he could switch back to 13. I have no idea if that's true or not. Obviously, a lot of that would depend on if Keenan Allen's still here. But for now, spam 18 for Caleb Williams. Okay, let's get to some coaching staff buzz here, as I just want to dive into some of the latest talks, latest chatter that's out there about who Ben Johnson could or could not be bringing on to this Bears coaching staff. We'll do that here in just a moment. But first, I do want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Game Time. Got myself some tickets to the national championship a couple years ago. First time I used Game Time. I've never gone anywhere else since. They are the place to go to get your tickets to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, everything else in between. You need tickets, Game Time is the place for you. Use the feature Game Time Picks to kind of filter out the fluff of thousands of tickets within a certain event. That way, based on your budget, you will quickly be able to find tickets that fit your desires. You can turn on all-in pricing as well. That way you're not surprised at checkout with fees that you may get hit with. Views from the seats, super deals, curated deals, event cancellation policy, job loss protection policy as well. All of that is available when you get your tickets with Game Time. If you find a better price on the same row and same section of a certain event with a different ticketing app, they are going to give you 110% credit of that price. They want to give you the most seamless and most affordable process as possible. So here's what I need you to do. Download the Game Time app today for free. Create an account. Use promo code CHATSPORTS, all one word, to get $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply. That's code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase only. Terms apply. Check out Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. What time is it? It's game time. Okay, Brad Biggs had a note here on Hank Fraley saying, does not sound like the Bears will be a destination for Lions offensive line coach Hank Fraley. Perhaps Ben Johnson does get an assistant from Detroit to join him, but Fraley is not expected. Johnson isn't going to raid Dan Campbell's staff. I have a couple of thoughts on the Fraley thing. One, he's still in the mix in Seattle. Got a second interview there to be their offensive coordinator. And if he got an offer from there, most likely he would be the play caller. Now, there's some stories out there. Albert Breer had a story. They might look to do some co-offense coordinator situation in Seattle. I'm not sure what that would look like and how Fraley could potentially work in there. But let's just play this out. If he gets the Seattle offer and he gets to call plays there, he would take that over coming to Chicago because he'd be the play caller. Number two, if he doesn't, even if the Bears give him that OC title and Ben Johnson's his guy, I could easily see Dan Campbell in Detroit just matching whatever salary offer the Bears make and just keeping him in the position he is, maybe add a title run game coordinator or something like that, even if Campbell's not going to make him the OC. Because if he's not calling plays, what's really the difference from Fraley's standpoint? He could just wait it out for a different opportunity. So I think that's probably going to be the holdup here for him to not get this job, is because he wouldn't get to call plays, which I don't want him to. I want Ben Johnson to call the plays. So that could kind of turn the OC in a different direction. Really, all Ben Johnson needs for this role is someone he trusts, someone that can help with the game planning throughout the week, because obviously as the head coach, you have less time to do that, less film study specifically for the offense that can be done. You need someone else that can do those hard hours, which he mentioned earlier today. So we'll see who that person ends up being. Maybe it's still Fraley, but I would bet that it's unlikely at this point. Now, the other coaching staff rumors that have been out there and discussed, Dennis Allen favored as DC. I still think that's the case. We'll talk more about that in a second. Darren Rizzi still in the mix to be the Saints head coaching job. The Jets hired Aaron Glenn. They also interviewed him, so not in the mix there. I would certainly think that several teams would be interested in him as a special teams coordinator. Kind of reminds me of Rich Bisaccia a few years ago when he was the Raiders interim head coach. Didn't get that permanent job, but a ton of teams, including the Bears, were trying to hire him as the special teams coordinator. Bears ended up hiring Richard Hightower, who Brad Biggs also said if they can't get Darren Rizzi, he could return. And the Bears were top 10 in DVOA on special teams this year, believe it or not. And, they had that 2 or 3 game stretch where they had a couple field goals blocked. But other than that, pretty good year. I mean, they largely won the Packers game for that cool design punt return for Josh Blackwell. So if he's back, I'd be okay with that. Keep some continuity on the special teams unit there as well. As far as Dennis Allen goes, I still feel pretty good about him coming around. I just have no reason to feel otherwise, right? A lot of these DC jobs have started to fill up. I mean, could maybe San Francisco try to jump in and do that, but they run a 3-4 base scheme. Are they going to want to do a big scheme shift? I'm not sure. If Robert Saleh doesn't get a head coaching job, feels like he's going to go to San Francisco. So I do think Dennis Allen is the favorite to still get this gig. Obviously, next steps for Ben Johnson, interview current coaches on this staff and decide if he wants to keep any of those for any of their roles or offer them jobs. And as he lets those guys go, then, they'll start to interview some external options, I would imagine, as soon as tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. We will have you guys covered. One of the many reasons to subscribe to the channel is because when news drops, we hit you guys with videos daily, Bears content, at least 2 videos today, sometimes more. Like yesterday, we did 3. We'll be live again tomorrow as well, every Monday and Thursday throughout the offseason. Plus, in breaking news situations, we got you guys covered. Let's get to 115,000 subscribers. It's free. Just hit that sub button. Okay, Ben Johnson, want to end with this. Strong message. We hit on a lot of things earlier, press conference reaction. He's also talked since then on he did kind of a walk-off interview with people who were there, and also he's been on ESPN 1000, etc. Want to give Nicholas Moriano credit here. He had this little exchange with Ben. He said he asked Ben Johnson how he would enforce discipline with Bears players. Quote, "Repeat offenders will be made an example of," close quote. The first thing I thought of there was Tyrique Stevenson, a player I like, a player I've defended, but a player that needs to mature. He's got a lot of talent. We've seen him play well. I thought he played exceptional in Week 18 against the Packers. I thought the second half of his rookie year, he was outstanding. But that Hail Mary goof and him not getting disciplined and still kind of being, I like his edginess, but he crosses that line a lot. Like, he's got to rein that in to reach his potential and kind of know where that line is. So, I think that was kind of a shot of like, hey, guys, like, we're setting a higher standard here than what you guys have had. And by the way, the players have been asking for that. We need more accountability and leadership. Ben Johnson seems like a guy who's going to enforce those things. Now we gotta see it. Again, this is all just words right now, but it's all we can go off of. And prior experiences that Johnson's been a part of. So we'll see what happens there. But, I think Tyrique Stevenson's a player to watch this offseason. Like, it could go one of two ways. He could have a huge breakout year. I think that's very much on the table. Dennis Allen, by the way, a pretty firm, kind of presence as well. So if he's in there, that's players are going to have to bring their bootstraps to work. And a guy like Reek, I could see it going either way, where he kind of reaches his potential, understands, matures, or maybe he just gets phased out. Anytime you have a new staff, guys are going to get phased out. So I'm rooting for Tyrique. I hope it works out because I do believe in his talent, his physicality, and his ball skills at the cornerback position. Okay, are you more or less excited about Ben Johnson after today? I'm more. Like, clear communicator, confident in what he's doing. He's built this process for himself, and he's ready to jump in. He's ready to jump in. By the way, last little nugget, I have to say this on the way out. And for more L for less, by the way. George McCaskey said today when asked, how the Zoom interview with Ben went, all that stuff. He said the first thing Johnson said when he hopped on the Zoom call before anything else was, "Hey, I want this job." And then he said the last thing he said before they hung up was, "Did I mention I want this job?" So shout out to Ben Johnson's agents for working the Raiders like a side piece, because that is all that was, at least seemingly so. I mean, it'd be one thing for Ben to say, "Yeah, this is the job I always wanted." Like, what else is he going to say? But for George McCaskey, if nothing else, pretty honest, straight shooter guy. Yeah, he told us right away he wanted the job. So this whole idea that he was going to take the Raiders job just was not a reality. So that is that. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media as well. I'm at HGrahamNFL, Twitter, and Instagram. We will see you guys soon here on Bears Now.